Hey friends, how are you? So nice to see you. Glad that you're here. I'm Christiana Gaudet. It is Thursday. I am live on my YouTube channel. It is time for the Tarot Topics Weekly Newsletter Recap. Do you get the Tarot Topics Weekly Newsletter in your inbox? If you don't, all you have to do is go to my website. That's christianagaudet.com or tarotbychristiana.com. Hit the button for newsletter. You can subscribe to the newsletter, and you can also read the newsletter. It comes out every week. We do a different topic every week. We talk about the topic. We talk about how the topic connects to tarot or divination or spirituality. Wow, right away, Clumsy Clairvoyance, thank you so much for the super sticker. Really, really appreciate your support. And right now, when I look at the folks who are here, you are all amazing supporters of this channel. Smile Soul 20, Karen Winkle, Kim Case, Claire C., and Clumsy Clairvoyance. All of you are members of this channel. That means you're making a commitment to keep this content going, and I really appreciate that. And Clumsy Clairvoyance, I really appreciate the super chat as well that helps to support this program. So thank you very, very much. I appreciate all of you. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk just a little bit about the topic and do readings on it. And Karen Winkle is already on it. She knows to ask a question relevant to the topic. Before we get there, I do want to remind you I am teaching a class on Zoom tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, the Fearless Wisdom Tarot Workshop. Is there a particular tarot card or suit or group of cards that you have a hard time understanding or that you don't like or that scare you? In this workshop, we're going to work through all of that. To get a ticket, you just need to go to my website. I will hope to see you tonight on Zoom. All right, so the topic is borrowing trouble. And that is something I got from my late mother. Whenever I would be worried about something that you couldn't do anything about, that was kind of in the far off future and might or might not happen, my mother would say, don't borrow trouble. And I think that is such a great expression. Have you heard that expression before? Have you ever had anyone say that to you? I've never, ever heard that from anyone other than my mother. I doubt very much she made it up. But what a great expression. Don't borrow trouble. I love that. And so today, very simply, I thought it would be great to do some readings on the things that worry you. You know, because anything that you're worried about, either there is something you can do about it, and if so, what? Or you're just borrowing trouble. And so that's what I would like to focus on today. So go ahead and get your questions in. What questions do you have about things that worry you? And we're going to figure out, are you just borrowing trouble? What do you have to do to stop worrying? Or is there something actionable you can do about that concern? So as people are coming into the room, I thank you all so much for being here. Go ahead and get your questions in. And once again, I am very grateful to all of you, especially our channel members. I see you, Jean Mnuchin. I see you, Peggy Lou Levens. Thank you so much for being here. Claire C., I see you. So thankful for all of you. The first question I see here is from Karen Winkle. I know I borrow trouble way more than I need to. What can I do to help myself be aware when it's happening and stop it in its tracks? Right, and this is where I'm so lucky because I've got my mother's voice. Like, you know how you sometimes have your mother's voice in your head? Sometimes that's not good. But in this case, my mother's voice is just like, now, Christiana, you're borrowing trouble. And that's so helpful. So, you know, I'm happy to share my mother's voice with you. But there's something about being raised with it, of course, that puts it in your head so inherently. So what can you do to become more aware? Well, here's the thing. When you are worried about something, to you, it is a very real thing. You are worrying about it the same way that you would be worrying about something that really is a concern. Like, I'm walking on a ledge, I have to be careful not to fall off. That's a real concern. You have a very hard time in your own mind telling the difference between actually being on that ledge and something that is like 10 years off and may or may not happen. And to you, Karen, it feels exactly the same way. Now, there may be other people here who feel it that way as well, who see it that way as well. And so listen up, because this may pertain to you as well. So Karen, what do you have to do to break that apart? I think whenever you are feeling that sense of worry, think about it. Am I really on a ledge? Or am I borrowing trouble? Maybe because you're a diviner, you work with the cards. Maybe do a reading about it. Am I on a ledge or am I borrowing trouble? Right there, do that reading. And another thing to do is to say, well, what can I do about this right now? Am I doing everything I can? And this can be something you do in your own mind. It can be a process in your own mind, or it can be a divination. What can I do about this right now? Am I doing everything I can? Okay, fine. Good. There it is. But I think the key there is in breaking apart the difference between imminent threat and something off in the future that may or may not be. All right. Thanks for that question. And thank you, Marianne, for a very, very generous super chat. Really, really appreciated, Marianne. And I have to say, Marianne gets double applause because it was she who asked me to turn on super chat in the first place. I had only read about it. I didn't really understand it. So she got me to turn it on. And thank you so much for that. It's been a really great thing for this channel, and I appreciate your generous contribution today. Okay, let's get on to our next question. And Clumsy Clairvoyance, again, thank you for your super chat. You said you have never heard this, and that's what I'm wondering. Has anyone ever heard the expression, borrowing trouble? Where did my mother get that from? I don't know, but it is awesome, right? Samantha, so nice to see you. Will I be able to be safe if I leave the hospital today? And I hope your procedure went well. I'm looking forward to catching up with you. And let's see, is it time to leave the hospital? Obviously, that's a good question for the doctors. But do we think you will be safe? Honestly, if they could keep you for another day, I think that would be better. And if not, I think you really need to perhaps get your daughter or someone else to be very present for you, to watch you as you recover. I think that's going to be very important. When I look at how everything has gone, I think they did good work. And so I feel like it's just a matter of the recovery, and the recovery from this procedure is going to help with recovery from many things. So that's beautiful. Okay. Lori Hahn says, I've done that all my life. Speaking about borrowing trouble, I've done that all my life, unfortunately, right? And so learning how to not do it is really the thing. Hey, Sarah, so nice to see you here. You see that green sun next to Sarah's name? That means she's been a member here for 2 months. Thank you so much. I pulled the 9 of Swords today and definitely thought of borrowing trouble. Wow. Hey, Kyle, it's nice to see you. Glad you're here. Betty Flesher, nice to see you. Thank you all for being members of this channel, and thank you all for being here. JF. I'm extremely worried about reliable transportation to and from surgery next week, losing a lot of sleep over it. Okay, so that is probably not borrowing trouble because you really do need to get there. You need to figure out what reliable transportation can be. And when we look at that, the question is, do you have someone who can help you here? My feeling is the people here who might say they would help you or who should be there to help you may or may not be able to. So I don't think you're borrowing trouble. I think this is real. What you may need to look at doing is this a thing for Uber? Is this a thing for getting an ambulance, for getting medical transportation? You may need to take this in your own hands and solve this problem. And I think this sort of opens us up to a deeper issue, which says that the people, like there's a lack in your life, whether it's you just don't have enough people in your life or the people in your life are not reliable enough. And that is its own problem. It's showing up around this surgery, but it's a larger problem in life. And it's not your fault. It's not something you've created, but it is something that you are going to have to solve. You are going to have to learn to surround yourself with better people. I mean, that sounds horrible, but surround yourself with people who are able to be there for you. And you're a kind person and you're worthy of that. So solve your immediate problem, but recognize there's a larger problem here too. Okay, Moonlight Tarot. I'm worried about not going to marry in the future. So you'd like to get married. You're worried that that's not going to happen. Let's take a look. You know, I do feel like this is a classic example, Moonlight Tarot, of borrowing trouble. And, you know, my concern is very often, no matter what the culture is, very often when people are worried about not marrying, they're so excited when they find someone who's willing to marry them that they marry the wrong person. So I'd be more afraid of that. Obviously, do the things you need to do in order to meet eligible people, but let go of this worry and instead be proactive about creating the life that you want. Lori Hahn, thank you for being a member of this channel. What do I need to do to stop borrowing trouble? You have to trust yourself. You have to trust your own intuition, your own intelligence. A lot of what's been done to you is some real gaslighting kind of stuff that has made you not trust yourself. And because you don't trust yourself, you worry too much. That's what I think. So I think for you, it all comes down to trusting yourself. Jean Mnuchin, so nice to see you. Thank you for being a member of this channel. Really appreciate it. What can I do about the aches and pains of aging? Joints, back, blood and immunity balance. And that's a thing. That's not borrowing trouble. That's a real worry. Happens to all of us. And obviously, I'm not a doctor. But what comes up is about movement. And, you know, I know you're someone who looks at different supplements. Obviously, I'm not a doctor. I can't make a prescription of any kind. But I am wondering about omega-3 for you as a possibility. And movement is so important. If you're already doing a half hour of yoga a day, turn it into an hour. Do the movement and do it as soon as you get out of bed if you can. I think that will help. Okay, Kim K, so nice to see you. Thank you for being a member of this channel. How do I mix work and work to make fair for both? And I wonder if you meant like work and home or work and play. And obviously that's not borrowing trouble. That's a real worry. That's something you actually have to attend to. And the thing is, I think you start to worry about it being fair for everybody else. But I also think you have people in your life who will complain that it's unfair for them, whether it is or is not. And so you have people who are always saying it's unfair, even though it's not. Excuse me. And you yourself don't try to do things that are fair for you. So I think you have to recognize that you are a good arbiter of what is fair, but you also have to look at what is fair for you, and you can't listen to complainers. That's what I think. Style and Chic, is so nice to see you. Oh my goodness, this sucks. I had to reschedule an interview because I was anxious all night and couldn't sleep a wink. I feel like I'm borrowing trouble. What do the cards say? Wow, I'm so sorry. That's horrible. Yeah, you are in it. You are really in a tough space. And honestly, I think we've gone past some habitual borrowing trouble and gotten into what could be clinical. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, but you could be dealing with clinical anxiety, clinical depression, something of that nature. And so I feel like it would be really important for you to look at this from a more medical standpoint, especially since it's interrupting your sleep. So I'm going to say this may not, or it may have started with you borrowing trouble, but now it's taken hold and grown into something more. And you may even have a genetic predisposition towards some of these things. So take it seriously. Talk to your doctor, see what you can do. Seriously, no one should have to suffer like that. Ivan Morris, so nice to see you. And thank you for being a member of this channel. Blame and shame is very bad. Yes, it is. Being nice is borrowing trouble? Well, it depends. I think, the way I was raised, borrowing trouble is when you worry about things in the distant future that may or may not happen that you can't do anything about at all. That's borrowing trouble. All right, right. Kim, you meant working home. That's what I thought. Right. Yeah, my mom had some real wisdom. Ain't none of us perfect. I could tell you some funny stories about her too, but she really had some real wisdom. Okay, Claire C., thank you so much for being a member of this channel. I'm letting my doctors scare me so much I'm afraid to do anything. How can I overcome this fear? So the first question is, are the doctors telling you something you need to hear? And the answer is it's all about a balance. You need to hear, and you may need to get a second opinion. It may be that you're not trusting your doctors. So I think pursuing that and getting a second opinion is important, but finding some balance with it as well. And so I think, in your case, and one thing we're learning as we're doing these readings is that anxiety and fear comes from different places. Sometimes it's medical, right? Sometimes it comes from lack of trust in oneself. Sometimes it comes from not knowing how to separate what a real threat is from not a real threat. In your case, Claire, I think it comes from lack of good information. I think you need more knowledge. If that means more doctors, reading more, learning more, researching more, you need more knowledge. That's what's going to help you. Betty Flesher, so nice to see you. Thank you for being a member of this channel. Do I just try to make everything nice for everyone, or am I OCD and they don't notice the small details? So that's a great question for your doctor. I think there's two things here that are getting stuck together. One is maybe it's more than two things. You do have better attention to detail than others, number one. Number two, you do like to make things nice for people. That's great. But you do go out of your way driving yourself crazy with small details that other people don't care about. So when you're doing those things, don't fool yourself. Don't say you're doing them for other people. You're doing them for you. And then if you don't want to do them for you, you don't have to. Other people appreciate you. But down to that molecular level that you seem to be doing things at, they don't see and they don't get it. And it doesn't matter. Okay. Clumsy clairvoyant, how can I stop worrying about being a bad parent? So, one of the things that I often think is that if you're worried about being a bad parent, you're probably a really good parent. Because the people who are bad parents don't worry about it. You see what I'm saying? When I look at your parenting, I think you're a good parent, but I wonder if there is a co-parent or another adult in the picture that you're trying to buffer or trying to work against who is not doing as well. And I think there may be some reality there that you're going to have to deal with. So it's not your parenting that's the problem, perhaps. All right, I want to take a moment and say thank you. We have a brand new member. JF has become a member at the ACEs level. Thank you so much for that. We absolutely appreciate that. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate your membership. Really appreciate that. That's huge. Okay. Okay. Smile Soul 20, look at that green sun, has been a member for 2 months. My question, is there a debt that this company is taking funds out of? Will it be paid off soon, or am I borrowing trouble? Got it. So what you're worried about there, is there something to worry about? I don't think so. I think you're borrowing trouble. That's what I think. Okay. And Iva has just shared her own reading, The Sun Reversed, Change the Negative Mindset and Find Inspiration. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, JF, and thank you so much for becoming a member. I hired medical transportation. I'm scared they won't show either. Yes, I definitely understand what you're saying with unreliable people. Thank you so much. So the medical people will, and that's where you're borrowing trouble. The medical people are very likely to show. Really. They know they're there to transport you for surgery, and they know that they really upset the apple cart if they don't. So that's where your own anxiety, I think, is coming in. Okay, Peggy Lou, and look at that green sun right next to Peggy Lou. So good. Am I borrowing trouble by wanting to leave my relationship, or should I just stay put and accept it the way it is? Well, that's up to you. But the thing is, you know the way it is. And when we look at how it helps you, it does provide you a certain amount of stability. How does it hurt you? I think it makes you feel limited. But the thing is, you limit yourself too. So you might be single and do the same thing to yourself. So that's a hard question, but I think what you really have to do is look at your own relationship with yourself and how you deal with it yourself. Okay, so from my perspective, I have answered every question I see. If I accidentally missed you, please do reach out with your question. I want to remind you, we've got Zoom class tonight. If you don't have a ticket yet, you can get a ticket. It's at 7 o'clock tonight. Fearless Wisdom Tarot Workshop will help you make better friends with the cards you're not friendly with right now. You get the 2-hour class tonight, and then you get to watch the replay anytime you want on Teachable. So get your ticket. Go to my website, ChristianaGaudet.com or tarotbyChristiana.com. You can also subscribe to the newsletter there. For those of you who are members, who have subscribed to this channel, and those of you who have helped me out with super chats and super stickers today, I appreciate all of you so much. Thank you so much. Please do remember to like this video. I'll be back tomorrow at noon with the Friday weekly wrap-up. I am available for readings next week, and we do have a special guest teacher for a free class next week, Tuesday, 7 p.m., Nancy Hendrickson, otherwise known as Nancy Sage Shadow, will be joining us for a free class on working with the ancestors. So let's give her a good showing. I am also being a guest on someone else's YouTube channel. Tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Caroline Ironwill. Look up her channel, subscribe, and see me there. We're going to be talking about the tarot police and how they don't exist. All right, my friends, I thank you all so very much. Look forward to seeing you soon. You know what? Marianne came in, gave that generous contribution, and has not asked a question. Marianne, anything you wanted to know before I say goodbye? I just noticed that. Well, you can always text me. I'll get to you. Thank you very much. I'll look forward to seeing you all soon. You be good.